Hey everyone, back again. Gonna try to make a shorter video. I know that uh, the the other videos I've made are hour long, so not it's kind of I'm sure it's dragging on. And so I've mentioned in the other videos that I want to talk about theology and that I'm not gonna make most people who go to a standard church happy about my beliefs. I was raised Catholic and I'm actually agnostic at this point because I haven't found that any church. It's not that it's because there's too much man. Uh, you know, we 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 restrict people for a certain. It's human nature to restrict ourselves and keep ourselves in a box. Like, for instance, Catholics are Catholics, Protestants are Protestants, and stuff like that. Um, it's sad to me that one church will say the other church isn't a church of God. And I will get further into that because there's some more stuff I want to talk about later on. But um, uh, I want to start off with the point of view where this comes from is um, while I was going through my, you know, being raised Catholic and going through catechism and all that stuff, there were there were points that stuck with me, and obviously, if you do believe in God, like I actually do, I've felt that I've believed in God most of my life, other than um, I don't believe in church. And that's because something imprinted on me while going to school and other things. And the reason I believe in God is because there's some coincidences in my life that just, you know, can't explain it without just saying it's because God wanted it. And I know that sounds kind of cringe and weird and whatever if you're not a God fearing person, but I want to talk about how I don't believe in churches anymore, because I believe um, there are there's too much man's thoughts involved now. For instance, I mean, a good point is how a pope can be political. Um, how he can try to be. He's supposed to be just the head of the church, and try to shepherd his followers into God's grace. So there's lots of verses in the Bible that actually say that there's no need for a church or a building or anything. It's all up to you to believe in God. And I just want to point them out. There's a few that I mean, Google can just show it to you. You know, it's really easy. I don't remember chapter and verse that well. Like I know it's there. I just don't remember where it is. Um, Matthew 18. For where there are two or three gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. Which basically means that all it takes is peop- a group of people who actually are God fearing. There doesn't need to be some figurehead for a church or anything to lead them, and he's gonna be there, um, as long as you believe. Acts 17. God that made the world and all things therein See that the Lord is of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So it's saying that God made everywhere a temple, so man doesn't actually have to build anything. Now, do I think that's a bad thing that people built churches? No, because architecture, I mean, some of, if you've ever gone places and seen some of the architecture on these buildings, they're great, but it wasn't required. First Corinthians, know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth within you? Um, ye means you. Um, so you are the temple of God. Your mind and heart and body are the temple of God. Uh, So you don't have to be inside of a building that represents that. Oh, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I go by the Old King James or the King James Bible for most of my stuff, um, because the older the Bible, the closer to the original it is. Now I haven't read the Ethiopian one yet because that one supposedly should be actually even older, and I might decide to go get my hands on one of them. Um, John's 4, Jesus tells a Samaritan woman that a true worshiper will not be limited by a specific mountain in or Jerusalem, but that true worshippers will worship in spirit and in truth. Um, Kind of referring back to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Uh, it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of people who believe that's where you have to go. Just like little side tangent, like uh, for the Islamic faith, for some reason they have to go to Mecca. They have to pilgrim to Mecca. Um, isn't that kind of? I mean, it's not kind of, but it can be interpreted as a false god. You're going someplace specifically just to worship God, but it's also means that you're using that as an idol, and an idol is something that we actually got in trouble for, in the Old Testament, where Moses went to write the Ten Commandments down, and then when he came back, uh, the people were worshiping, I believe it was a bull, and then Moses threw down the Ten Commandments, breaking the original slabs. And I can't remember the rest of the story off the top of my head. I'd have to revisit it. But it, it wasn't good. And then Act 7, um, is howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saint with prophet. It's basically how the Most High dwelleth, which is referring to God. Not it's not in a temple made by hands. So man builds things that is made by hands. Whenever they refer to that, so it's just one of those. It's not a requirement. I mean, it's not part of the Ten Commandments. which is the most important stuff for actually all three main religions that worship God, because as much as people don't want to realize it or don't realize history, but I mean, the Jews were the first ones that worshiped God. Christians are next, and technically, Muslims or Islam actually believe in a lot of the people from the Bible too. I know, blasphemy, blasphemy. Everybody says blasphemy. I say, uh, it, it's true though. Jesus was a Jew. He was raised a Jew. Um, and that's another side note that I need to want to talk about too. But that I digress. So that's my opinion on church. I kind of wanted to bring it out there because honestly, at some point, somebody might, and I'm welcome for anyone to want to debate about it. I, I just, it's my belief that I found because what I've seen is that um, at this point, we, we, so much time has gone by since um, the original um, s- sacrifice of the lamb, Jesus being put on the cross, that man has had time to forget. I mean, the Bible is a good historical record. It's written and so on. But if you ever, I dare you or implore you or even take a challenge, take the time, read an old King James and then read a new King James, and or you don't have to read the whole thing, but then read. I don't even remember all the other books. I'd have to um, kind of go back and look for the names of all of them. But so the old King James is the oldest printed record. Before that, it was all transcribed by man, and then it got changed to simplify the words in the New King James. So there's no more ye and thou and dwelleth within or any of that stuff. So that's gotten changed. So now we change words a little bit, and then we take the New King James and um, a lot of the Christian churches, specifically more. We have a lot of them in America. We have a lot of them. I mean, we got like, I mean, I can list them. We've got Baptist, Pentecostal, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, uh, Seven Day Adventist. Um, I mean, I don't know. We might even have more than I can count on one hand or two hands, I should say. And each one of them, they developed their own Bible. There's a Mormon Bible. There's a Jehovah's Witness Bible, and all of them are changed to be more friendly to what they want to preach. So they've been changed by man, and so I I think a lot about how we started off as Jews and became Christians after Jesus. And the thing about that is, remember, the Ten Commandments are the first things, and how much man can actually mess with that or fudge with that it's it's not very easy because they were kind of plain and simple and straightforward. And if you try to change it much, you're gonna some people will notice. So anyway, so that's why I don't believe in churches. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in that kind of stuff. But it's not so much in churches. And if anybody wants to sit and talk with me or even have a discussion, leave a comment. Even I'd like to address what they would like to have addressed, and you know we can go from there. I mean, I also plan on going through other stuff. Like I want to talk about the fact that you know Jews, Christians, and Muslims are actually not that different, and they're also by all technicalities they actually worship the same God, which is funny. Where and why we're so divided, I don't understand. Well, I mean, I understand, but it's uh, it's a lot more complicated. But that's my shorty for this one. I will hopefully you guys leave a comment, and I will try to address that and get back to you. So have a good one.